Hugh, it's 1960. MGM Studios are going to rebuild the Bounty for a movie starring Marlon Brando. And you're a Dartmouth, Nova Scotia native.
Yeah.
And the ship was being built by Smith and Rowland.
Smith and Rowland.
In Lunenburg. Take us back to that time and tell us about how you actually got on board as a crew member.
You were just like a new young man on the ship, weren't you, at that time?
At the time I was. In fact, I'd been wandering around a bit. I lived in Toronto for a while, and then I moved to Denver, and I was working out there when I heard about the Bounty being built. And that was it. That brought me back home, bang, bang, because I would love so much to be part of the Bounty.
So you didn't care about a career other than just get on that ship, right?
No, that's right.
Follow a dream. So.
Getting on the ship was big. And the big man back then was James Havens. I don't know if you know that name, but he was with MGM and pretty much represented the company with respect to construction of the Bounty. And working with Fred Rowland and those guys in Lunenburg to build the ship and make it as close to the original as possible. And he apparently had done quite a bit of research. He'd gone to England and researched
the original
Bounty.
Drawings of the Bounty,
right.
The blueprints and that.
Yeah, that's right.
So you would have been in your 20s at that point, were you?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
So you heard about the Bounty being built in Lunenburg, and then you decided that you were going to apply. Did you have to go through an application process to get on board?
Oh, I had to be. I was so interested in. My dad was at sea all his life, and my grandparents and so on. And this was a chance to kind of do what they did and be part of this history. So that's what happened. And I got back to Lunenburg and went down and got some recommendations from some fellow people that I knew. The manager of the Binook Canoe Club was.
Yes.
Oh yes.
He was with.
Because you paddled with Binook, didn't you, for a bit?
Yeah, and this man was with the insurance company too, that was going to look after insuring the Bounty.
I see, okay.
Yeah, so that worked out so well.
So that's how the connections all lined up.
They all lined up.
Great.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Now there were some other fellows from Dartmouth as well, wasn't it? Your future brother-in-law, Wayne Dewar?
Yeah, he was from Hansport.
Hansport, yeah.
But he was there, and we met Captain Coggins and his son, Ted Coggins.
So he was the original captain?
Yeah, he was the original captain, yeah.
Okay.
And there were others. My memory's starting to go.
Jim Johnson?
Pardon me?
Jim Johnson from Guysborough?
Jim Johnson, yes.
On board as well?
Yes.
So you had a crew of maybe how many on board when you first left here?
I think there were 24, something like that, yeah.
And you were on sea trials off Lunenburg to try her out?
And
then the call came to go to Tahiti.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, that was special. That was special.
Well, that would have been setting up for the movie.
I was lucky because I got seasick once on this first 2 or 3 days out to sea. Seasick, but then it went away, and I didn't happen it again. Whereas some guys had a hell of a time with seasickness.
Some people don't get over it.
Yeah, it was terrible for some of them.
So what was it like being in Tahiti? Is it as beautiful as they say it is?
Tahiti was special. That was such a joy to come into that port. I remember it was on the 8 to 12 watch at the time. I remember climbing up the mainmast rigging and on lookout with the rest of the crew to try to sight the island, and then we saw it. There it was. Tahiti was on the horizon.
Wow.
That was special, you know, that was so wonderful. And we arrived and got a greeting like nothing else. It was amazing. All
They're
those
crazy
people.
about the Bounty over there to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So did they row out like they did in the movie and came out in the outriggers and
they did.
bringing the flowers and
they
things?
They came out in the outriggers.
Wow.
It was so special, you know, the greeting was unbelievable.
So you also got to be on the crew because I think you played the accordion. I've seen some footage.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I played the accordion.
You still play today?
A little bit, yeah. I had it out a little while ago for a couple of old Newfoundland songs, which I play sometimes.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Yeah, it was good.
So how long were you in Tahiti for?
Well, it was about 9 months, roughly.
9 months.
The whole trip took a year, that original maiden voyage.
Okay.
But that included getting down there and then coming back to Hawaii, where we went into dry dock for a while to do some repairs on the bottom, because the worms were into her big
Yes.
time.
Were they?
And that's before copper sheathing was used, so it was.
So the worms go into the oak?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they
Terreno
go in.
worms.
That's a hard wood, you know.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So you put copper on the outside,
Yeah, but that came later. The
Okay.
copper was done after that.
and then you paint it all over.
When we went on exhibit in New York, we had the copper sheathing put on. If I remember right, it was at Jackson Shipyard out in Long Island,
Okay.
Oyster Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now in Tahiti, you got to be as an extra, a background person in the movie, actually, as part of the crew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dressed up in the outfits of the 1787 British naval.
Yeah. Yeah,
outfits.
that's right.
So
yeah.
did you have a chance to interact with any of the main characters, the main stars like Marlon Brando?
Oh, yes, yeah. Brando was
Richard
he's sort
Harris.
of a loner, but
Yeah.
he was a very pleasant man. I mean, Roy Bootler, who was still around, and he was a crew member, and he had stepped on a nail on his way back to the Bounty, way into the evening, and he was struggling along, and Brando saw him and come over and picked him up, and took him to his doctor, who fixed him up, gave him some help.
Great.
Just bang out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was good. He was a good guy.
And where was Roy Bootler from? Was he from the South Shore?
Yeah,
Was he?
he was from Dartmouth, but he now lives in outside of Moncton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's only about 3 original crew members left,
That's
yourself
what we're
and
told,
Roy.
that there's just 3 of us left.
That's what
yeah.
Captain Walbridge told us when we spoke with him last year.
Oh, yeah.
Down in the galley.
We spoke to him the last time he was in Nova Scotia, him and Claudine.
Oh, yes.
We went down into the hold, and we were in the kitchen.
Yeah, we spent some time in the Bounty, quite a bit,
It was
last
about
summer for
3
Tall
days,
Ships Festival
4
that was
days.
here.
Did you?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
We
it's
got
a
a
great,
chance to
great
interview.
vessel. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really great vessel.
Roy Bootler got to know Claudine very well and just praised her. He just said
Yeah.
she was a real sweetheart.
She was
She
a
was
dynamic
firecracker,
person.
She
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
like she really had that essence, the high
Spark,
energy.
yeah.
I
Spark
wish
of
I'd
life.
met her. I never did meet
Wow.
her. You
Yeah,
know.
she had a spark, that's for
Spark of
sure.
life.
Yeah, what is she?
So you're in Tahiti for 9 months. You're
9 months.
enjoying the filming and everything that goes with the
Yeah.
Bounty.
Yeah.
So, any other stories that you have from being in Tahiti? I noticed, what was it, Wayne that brought back a lady from Tahiti, or married her, I think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in keeping with the original Bounty.
Exactly.
Sure is, yeah.
Married to Tahiti.
And then I married his sister.
That's
That-
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was Wayne Dewar. Yeah, he married Suzanne. And Mahavini, I think, they always pronounce the vowels in
Yeah.
Tahiti. All the
Mahavini.
vowels are pronounced individually.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, they had 2 children, Morea, named after the island of Tahiti,
Yes.
and then Kelly. And we see Kelly quite a bit. Kelly
Okay.
Dewar. He's working down at, what is it, Tom? Down
West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach,
Good.
yeah.
And you're still in St. Petersburg,
Yeah, we're
just
still in
outside Tampa.
St. Pete. Yeah.
And that was the reason why the Bounty was going back there last
Yeah.
November, was because they were decommissioning the dock
Yeah,
where
that's
the Bounty
what,
was for a long
That's what we
time.
heard, yes, yes.
So then the filming was done, the movie came out, and you guys went on a promotional tour, didn't you, to the New York World's Fair and
Yes,
various ports?
yeah, we went up the west coast first to Vancouver, and then down to Seattle, and then down through the Panama Canal, New Orleans,
Yes.
and eventually ended up in Boston.
Hmm.
And and I was engaged at the time to Wayne's sister. Wayne is the guy who married the Tahitian girl.
Mhm.
And when I saw her on the press boat, I jumped over the over the side of the Bounty and swam over. And all I could do was a side stroke back then. I wasn't a good swimmer. But anyway.
You wanted to see her pretty bad, eh?
Oh yeah, very much so.
Oh,
yeah.
that's great. That's excellent.
Yeah, it was special.
So there's also talk too that that MGM were actually going to burn the Bounty
That's
as
right.
part of the movie, but they used a model because Brando had said that if
He
you burnt
objected.
that beautiful
Yeah.
ship,
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's right. He was very much against that. And then Ron Carroll, who was with MGM, he thought they should try it as an exhibit.
Yes.
And that's when we ended up at the New York World's Fair. And that was such a success that they looked around for another year-round port.
Yeah.
And that's when we ended up in St. Petersburg.
I see, yeah.
And we were in there for 23 years, I think it was.
Is that right?
65 to 88.
So you worked your way up from bosun to mate, and you went to
Yeah.
the Maritime College?
Yeah, Ordinary Seaman was where I started. The lowest form of life.
That's right, it is, yeah. Yeah.
And then worked up to bosun, and then eventually captain by going back to college. My third attempt to go through college, but this one I really enjoyed. This was good.
So that was 1972 when you became officially the skipper.
Officially, the first trip was in 72, yeah.
And where was that to?
It was just out of Tampa Bay and around out by Egmont and back into the dock again.
Short test.
That was a short test.
That was the test.
Yeah, short test.
So then after that, you started signing on with Tall Ships America, the different tall ship festivals that were happening around, and going off. Did you do Europe? Did you go back to Tahiti or throughout the eastern seaboard?
We went up to Pensacola, was about the first major, or somewhat major trip up to Pensacola for one of those tall ships events. Excuse me. And then we did some other stuff around, over to Lauderdale, and then the big breakthrough was going over to Mexico to make Yellowbeard.
Ah, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
another movie.
Who were the stars in Yellowbeard, Tom?
There was the whole Monty Python group,
The Monty-
Cheech and Chong.
Oh, nice.
It's a
Were
great-
you on that
Yeah, I
that
was
crew?
13 at the time, did a lot of growing up.
I bet you did. I bet you did,
They call
Tom.
that experiential training, experiential learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was the next movie. So Yellowbeard, and then of course
Yellowbeard.
there was another one with Charlton Heston, which was a remake of Treasure Island.
Yeah.
You were skipper on board then. I think that was in '89, maybe.
That would have been after the Bounty transferred to Ted Turner's organization,
Yes.
I think. And one of his sailing buddies got my job, and so I was relieved of command.
Okay. So you were captain from how since 1972 till
72 for 72 till 87, I guess.
87.
Yeah.
So that would have been one of your last trips when you came to Dartmouth, the last time I remember, and at Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And
yeah.
You tied up down there by the ferry terminal.
Oh yeah, well I
Yeah.
did come back and work briefly with people out of New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes,
Yeah, great folks. They were super good.
because they had bought the Bounty by that point, haven't they?
They owned the Bounty for a while there. Yeah. Yeah.
It strikes me, this isn't just a story about a captain of the Bounty. This is a story about a young man that made a decision he was going to be on a ship,
Yeah.
come hell or high water, and just do it.
That was about it.
And
Yeah.
you committed your life to it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that ship. I loved it dearly.
Oh, we did too. I mean, I was on it with my dad when it was being built in Lunenburg when I was 3 years old.
Were you really?
Yeah, and that was through some of the guys that he knew, possibly yourself and a few other fellas.
Okay.
maybe through Wayne, and I ended up on board there, and it was great. You know, I don't.
Dwight remembers as a young lad,
Yeah.
while it was still, finishing up in the shed.
Is that right?
Walking
Yeah.
the decks. back
Yeah.
and forth.
Oh, is
Walking the
that
decks,
right?
Before
Yeah.
she was launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that and whenever you brought it up, I used to always have a cheer down on the waterfront. We always went down to see it, whether it was with Eileen Flawn,
Okay.
or my dad or Dennis Flawn and all those guys,
Yeah.
going down to the waterfront, because it was like you were thumbing your nose at Halifax by not tying up over there. You're tying it up in your hometown of Dartmouth. And that all made us Dartmouthians very proud.
Yeah,
Very proud of the fact, you know.
Oh, yeah, I
That you
wanted
did
to
that,
go
don't
to Dartmouth, my hometown.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
And it was
Although I
great.
was born in Halifax,
Yeah.
but
I have pictures of that too. I have pictures of you bringing it.
really?
Yeah,
Do you
that'd probably
really?
be 87, 86.
Sounds about
Got
right.
some pictures of that, and I've got them
Yeah.
posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
So then you stayed around St. Petersburg, and then the Bounty changed hands in the 90s to, or around
Robin.
2000, to Robert Hansen, I believe.
Hanson, yeah.
Yeah.
The ownership.
And then Robin Walbridge came on, because I remember meeting him in 1996
Oh,
when he
did
brought
you?
he brought the ship
Yeah.
to Halifax.
I
Yeah.
talked to Robin several times over that period of time and tried to encourage him to restore and not renovate, because they were
Yes.
doing a lot of
Changes to
changes, yeah.
the rooms.
And,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
He wanted to keep more of the original design of the ship.
Wanted to keep it as
Yeah.
original as possible, yeah.
If I'm correct, I think they changed the way the stairs went down below. They did some reconfiguration.
Yeah, they
I
did. There was a
think-
spiral staircase that went up at one point.
Oh.
Then they changed that around.
Okay,
It was
yeah,
a straight staircase, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so Robin, took over in 96. Now, when Tall Ships Halifax happened in 1984, were you part of that?
No,
No, I didn't
No.
think that she was there.
no, I wasn't there. I
84.
wasn't aboard anymore. I think it was Hanson had taken on Walbridge and several others. And I talked back and forth to Walbridge quite a bit originally,
Mhm.
but then I kept pressing him. Let's keep it as accurate as possible, and we, things dropped off. Conversation
Yes.
was pretty strained a little bit.
Well, when we spoke to him last year, he spoke very highly of you.
Oh, did he
Yeah.
really?
Uh,
God bless him
in
for
one of the
that.
last interviews that he did
Yeah.
in the
oh,
galley when we were down
Yeah.
there, and talked about the vessel and
Oh,
the
he-
upkeep and how expensive it was and so on.
Oh, yeah. And he took her so many places.
He did,
Far more than I've ever done.
Yes.
Just all over the oceans,
Yeah.
He was pretty aggressive that way.
Yeah,
I must
that's right.
hand it to him.
Yeah. You guys went through there when you were on your way to Tahiti. You went through the
Yeah,
Panama
went
Canal.
through on the way to Tahiti.
Yeah.
And then on the way back, and then down there for Yellowbeard and back. It was quite an experience, yeah.
So those were the two main movies that were filmed while you guys were on board.
Yeah, the main ones we were in. But then, of course, they did other things with Robin Walbridge. They did some other movies.
Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yes.
Johnny
yes.
Depp,
Yeah.
and they did,
Yeah.
that was number 2, I think, The Dead Man's Chest that they did. And they did, of course, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh,
Yes,
that's,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
that's right, too.
And
yeah.
then they,
Kid show, yeah.
and then they did, of course, Treasure Island with Charlton Heston.
Yeah,
Which actually is a very good version. They say
Yeah.
probably more historically accurate.
yeah, yeah.
But that was good.
Oh, yeah, the old Bounty did a good job while she was alive. She was
Yeah.
in a lot of things.
That's indeed, she was, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where were you when you heard, and how did you hear the news that the Bounty had gone down?
I was in St. Pete. It was so scary, We knew there was a big storm down there, as we all know now, and wondered about them even going out in it, It was risky business. But Walbridge had these ideas about steering clear of the main problem with the hurricane. And I don't think he gave enough credit to the condition the Bounty was in at the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
things
that's going
went
to be
downhill.
that's going to be one of those things that there'll be a lot of conversation about after
Yeah.
years go by.
The inquiry
Yeah.
was finished,
Yeah.
I think, the end of this
Yeah.
month or something like that. But it seems that there was just a series of events that led
Series
to
of events,
with the
uh,
pumps going and
One
Yeah.
problem after another.
The engine
Old ship,
failing.
You know,
Yeah.
by that time
Mm.
it was old.
because she was 52 years old,
Yeah.
basically.
There, yeah.
Yeah.
I was so lucky because we had some hot shots on board, engineers especially. Bernie Mueller and Bob McDonald and others that kept everything running. And if a transmission let go, they'd fix it, or else we'd go into port and they'd get the parts they needed to fix it. They were super good. I was
Yeah.
very lucky to have good crew there.
Yeah.
That made the difference. Really, really did.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'm just trying to think of a few other questions. If you have any other stories, feel free to.
I was wondering if the Bounty back in those days ever had any, close calls with either major storms or, broadside from another ship or, things sometimes.
Yeah.
With that much time on the ocean, naturally there's going to be some kind
Yeah.
of problems that arise. I don't know if there's any memorable ones.
Didn't come across the Kraken or anything.
We had good fortune that way. We had very few issues at sea.
Nice.
We did have a hurricane come through St. Petersburg, and WSUN radio station was out on the pier at the time. They claimed it reached 110 miles an hour.
Wow.
But we were tied up in Vinoy Basin. We just put out some extra lines. We learned not to put a line high on a palm tree because they just got a ball for a root and the palm tree would fall down. But we did, and we took
Survived.
anchors out and
Yeah.
dropped them in. So yeah, that was scary. 110 miles an hour, that's pretty
So
heavy.
you didn't have any major breakdowns like a broken mast or sail ripped off or anything like that?
No, we had some serious problems with some of the masting eventually.
Some of the yards maybe were snapping,
Yeah,
and
and the mast.
Yeah, that's
The
standard,
foremast
yeah.
had to be replaced at one point, and a poor guy, I forget the name of the company that did it, but it was so heavy that he just got it ready to drop into the socket where it goes down to the keel, and the end of the train,
The crane?
the crane
Lifted right
dropped
up.
up like this, but it was perfect timing because it
It
went
just
to the
dropped it
right
in,
place.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
it did.
That's good fortune, like you said.
Oh boy, you said it,
yeah,
yeah.
indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, but we were very fortunate over the years. And the crew, I was very thankful for the people that worked with us. They were good. They were top notch.
When you were a captain, did they have like a training program on the ship that new people coming onto the ship would
No,
train? Because that seems to be a big thing now.
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that.
So
And,
people would come on board
heard
and pretty
about it.
much make it a career.
Yeah. No, these were the hotshot guys, and the people that worked with them learned from them
Yeah.
what was good, what to do under difficult circumstances. But it wasn't really a training program as
Yeah.
such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's experience.
She became a sail training vessel afterwards.
I guess so, yeah.
Robin was very
Yeah.
keen on that, and also in bringing troubled youth and underprivileged children and
Yeah.
handicapped as well
Yes, I've heard of
on
that
board
too, yeah.
to
Good
really
for him.
enhance their life and self-esteem.
Yeah, good
That
for
was a
him.
good program that they had there. Yeah. So Tom, how about you? You got Tom, sometimes Mike. Tom, any other stories you'd like to tell about your memories on board?
It was just great to grow up on the ship and scamper around and climb up and get up the guts to go up to the mainmast truck.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just at the pier.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine being up there when she was underway and
Yeah.
rocking back and forth and trying to work the sails. I was just scampering around for fun.
Wow.
So you never actually furled the sails and all that?
A little bit, but not too much while we were underway.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You must have thought your dad had the best job in the world
Oh yeah.
as a young
And
fellow.
yourself too, probably. Yeah.
It was great. We'd pull into a town and all the guys would go ashore and we'd take over the bars and whatnot.
Well, that was a tradition that they continued to do, and
good for
we
them.
joined them last time around. Yeah,
Mhm.
we really
Yeah.
did. We had a lot of fun with that.
It
Yeah.
was almost like a bit of a carnival on the dock with all the different ships tied to the pier and,
Yeah.
and the crew, you know, doing their thing by each ship.
These tall ship festivals have become quite the thing, especially in Halifax.
Yeah, they have,
Yeah,
haven't
they really have. You get 25, 30, A-class vessels, B-class,
Yeah.
and everybody downtown, and 400,000, 500,000 people come to these things,
Isn't that
and
so?
it just it does a lot for the economy, but it does a lot for the psyche of the city,
Yeah.
and it just enhances everyone's feeling, and it's just a big carnival. Some of the footage,
Oh,
you
yeah.
with your
At
accordion,
the end of
and
the
Oh.
DVD.
you out on the bowsprit, and all up in the rigging and everything, and
Oh, I loved it.
great stuff. Yeah.
Loved that vessel. It was
One of your
special.
many nicknames was Monkey Boyd.
Monkey
Yeah,
Boyd,
that's
yeah.
right too.
I think that's on the DVD.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Now, are you in Yellowbeard at all?
Just for a second off in the distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look for you.
Yeah, it's when the two guys are like messing with their telescopes.
Okay.
I'm kind of climbing the ratlins up the mizzen mast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now we
Did they have you dressed up too and all
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Canvas sack.
Oh,
now we
is that what they made the outfit out of?
It was just a canvas like pantaloons and a puffy shirt.
right.
Huh. Okay.
Now when we were in Port Hawkesbury with the Bounty last July,
Okay.
July 2012, some of the crew were watching Yellowbeard on a laptop
they
computer.
really?
Yeah,
They
they were
must have
watching.
got a kick
So
out
they had all the movies that the
Oh,
Bounty
okay.
had been
Did
in,
they? Yeah.
and any new crew that came on board,
I
that was
see.
part of the
Had to watch the
initiation. They had to
library.
watch
Was
the
it
library of
really?
the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I've got all the
Yellowbeard
movies.
could have been a freaking blockbuster. It had a great cast,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did.
but it just didn't do that well.
Did.
In the
John
States
Cleese was he on board
Yeah,
too?
he was there.
Yeah, what a
We
character.
didn't see too much of him in Mexico, but he was in the movie.
Yeah.
And David Bowie was there too.
Yeah.
He had a cameo appearance.
Who did?
David Bowie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of big names.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a.
And I remember it was Halloween when we were breaking Yellowbeard, and I had my costume on, and I was going around to the sailors, trick or treat, and I had a little list. And if they didn't give me a trick or a treat, I'd write their name on the list, and then it's like, "What are you doing, Nipper? Do you know how to swim?" And there's no good answer for that question. So they threw me over the side with all my gum that I collected from the nice girls that were on board. And I was just pouting down there, and they said, "Nipper, we just pumped the black water tanks. You better get out of there." Insult to injury.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
They called him the dirty little nipper. That's where the nipper came from. Dirty little nipper.
That's
Oh my.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had some fun with the captain's son. Treated you like one of their own. That was good.
Yeah, well, Dad made sure I didn't get any special treatment. I was cleaning toilets at the exhibit for I don't know how many years. Didn't want anybody to think I was getting special treatment.
No, that's right. That's how it goes, father and son.
But it was all up from there.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gents, we'll let you get back to your room, and
Your
Okay.
family?
once
guys,
again, we
yeah.
certainly appreciate everything that you did.
Oh, it's been great chatting with you.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
guess.
lot of
I've
fun.
enjoyed
Sharing the
it.
memories, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's right.
it's been.